Hi all, welcome to another Chess 24 Banter Blitz. It's 11:30. Let's just check out, just briefly, if you want to challenge me or other streamers, there's a 15% off voucher code, Kingscrusher for me, but you can play any other stream, so it's 15% off. You just turn up 20 to 30 minutes before a stream and send the challenge. It'll go on our challenge list, and we'll get to play you potentially. So, okay, I'm hoping audio and video is okay. Just let me check. Is the audio and video okay? If you let me know, because it said something about my stream rate being low. I'm a bit concerned what YouTube said. I hope it's okay. Let's take the first challenge. I'll just call him Eric. Eric. All right. Knight f6. I'll try c5, only c5. And I'm not playing a King's Engineer, I'm playing this sort of anti-London system thing. Well, I hope it's anti-London system. I haven't committed to e6 yet. I think I can play c4 and bishop f5. I hope I can play bishop f5. And that's interesting. I thought queen c2 and bishop f5 was the way to go. So I'll play for b4 to try and undouble the pawns. So I've got some a-file pressure for free almost, because well, I think I've got it for free. He's got pressure in the centre. If I take on c3 here to just get rid of my double pawns. Okay. Bishop a3 is an immediate threat of bishop b2. Actually, maybe it's worth putting that in. So bishop b2, bishop takes c3. It might be worth doing this instead of just routinely castling. Can't see a problem with it. Not necessarily. I can't see. I mean, sometimes the rook can crash down. There's knight c6, but there's no. I can't see an immediate problem. Okay, I'll take here. Oh, there's bishop d6. Well, there's knight. Yeah, I had to move. Okay, if I castle here, bishop d6, rook e8. Still seems okay. But I've nicked this pawn. Potentially nicking another pawn. Okay, knight takes c6. Well, I can take this other pawn. Rook b... that's hitting the bishop. Let's take this other pawn. I'm being too greedy. Okay, his bishop's hanging. Knight e7 check, king h8. So I think I can safely take this bishop. Or maybe not. Okay. If I force the rook to take with knight d7, rook takes, knight takes. The knight on c8, bishop b2 then for c3, that sort of thing. Or can I do better than that? Can I just get underway with the c pawn with bishop b2, c3, c2? That looks pretty fast. If he goes into a self-pin, it looks awkward. Okay, so I'll go with this. So I want to play c3, c2 here for c1. That is my past running pawn. Okay, so we have a knight on c8. So I want to play c2 here and c1. c2 and c1. Now, knight takes f7, king g8. I guess there's e4 coming up to stop c1. What if I played king g8, if I don't want to lose that pawn? Or even knight e4, just to stop e4, the effect of e4. So knight e4, knight f7, king g8 is probably stronger. f3 though, that kicks the knight. c2, f takes c. I win an exchange there. So okay, it might be worth doing this. So I'm blunting the bishop basically against e4 to try and stop the pawn queening with knight e4. It's probably more accurate, probably, than playing c2 immediately. On e4, yeah, the bishop. Okay, so I can play, knight takes here and then c2. Looks simple and strong. Gaining a key tempo. Taking the bishop away from that diagonal. This looks like a very strong pawn here. So in fact, I'm only a pawn up, but it seems a very strong pawn now. Thanks to the game, Eric. Okay, let's go on to the next challenge. I'll try my b3 against Manuel here. Right, let's play knight f3 instead of f4. Let's close that, not to lose the bishop immediately. It'd be embarrassing. Try and get a sort of stone wall attack with the bishop on b2. It looks quite nice, I believe. At the moment, anyway. Queen f3 for bishop a3 looks dangerous for f7. If I play bishop a3 first, then queen f3, f6, ef, knight f6. If I play queen f3, there's f6. That's the snag there. He's undermining the centre. I could try e4 to get rid of my double pawns on the f6, ed. F takes, I get a clamp on f6, ef, knight f6, knight g5. Maybe e4 overall is an idea. Maybe. I'll try it. I don't want to lose too much time there. Alright, now, I guess he'll be going for f6. So, let's just stabilize the center then, in advance of f6. Okay, I'm prepared to use that e5 square now. So I've got that e5 square to play with, and it's like a French defense pawn strategy. You try and use the lockdown square e5 in front of that isolated pawn, and try and lock down the bishop in this sort of hemmed in by its own pawn structure. So this particular structure is interesting. It's a typical French torture. Sometimes you sort of blockade on e5, keep the bishop hemmed in. Okay, I might have some attacking potential here. Or just double the rooks. If I just double the rooks, that looks like a nice perk of this position with this semi-open f-file. Maybe even treble Anakine's gun this on the f-file. Getting bishop a3 in could be interesting at some point. I was almost rook f6, knight d7 now. So that shows these pieces aren't just pretty, they're functional here. Rook f6, rook f6. Right, there's rook f7 here, getting on that 7th rank. That looks very dangerous. Okay, there's queen g5 or queen h4 though. Oh no, he just loses the bishop. He loses the bishop on d7. I mean, that's a pretty nasty infiltration. Yeah, the bishop on d7, that knight on e5 is hitting the bishop on d7 here. Queen g5, queen h4. Let's have a look at these two. Alright, I think just rook takes d7. I think if he takes, okay, it opens up this diagonal. I don't think that's a big deal. The loose rook is, I don't think can be exploited with a check on this diagonal. Okay, there's I'm tempted almost for rook g7, but let's take it easy. Yeah. Okay, so I can just take there, I think. Well, unless I want to do something else. A3, maybe A3 to win B7. Okay, I can win B7. I'm still tempted for rook g7 now. Maybe knight f7 is interesting, trying to lure the queen away from e6. I don't think I have to do anything too special, being material up, except move quickly. Okay, keep the pressure on. Maybe the e6. I'll go back for this e6 pawn, knight f3 to hit e6. That's a convenient target. This bishop's not playing a role at the moment. Now I've retreated the knight, strengthened the centre. The bishop doesn't have to protect d4. Maybe it can do something else. Or c4 here for c5. Yeah, c4, c5. Try and get past pawn going. Past c pawn was strong in the earlier game with black. Past c pawn here. Or bishop c4 seems tempting for e6. Okay, I think just d5 here just to get rid of the bishop on g7. Alright, so that's looking at some weak dark squares. I think queen f6 here now. Looks like nasty stuff is on the horizon here. Pinning the pawn. D takes e6. Okay, there's a check. King h1. The pieces on that loose. I can't see how the rook is loose. Okay, I'll take here. I think knight d4, knight c6, e7. Okay, I think the check and then bishop f7, lift the blockade of the pawn. I think knight f6, well, I can take and then rook f8 something. Okay, let's take here. And okay, I've got a minute 12. It's quite a good amount of time. Let's just try and avoid the stalemates there, I guess. Queen this pawn. Without stalemating, hopefully. King f6. King e7, at least. Just looking at an example move to avoid. Okay, thanks for the game, Manuel. Smile. Okay, so Fenneman. Hi. Let's try Sicilian defense. I'm stretching out on the queen side, gaining a bit of space here. Okay, b4 seems plausible. You'd think with the fianchetto this would be more effective, the strategy of trying to put pressure on the dark squares. But yeah, okay, I'll do this and this. And probably, I don't know, d5 is going into a French defense structure, but it does blunt that bishop. And I've blunted my own bishop. I've blocked in my own bishop. I'm not sure about this. What about knight e4? Knight e4. So saying basically if takes, I'll have pressure on d4. Also there's bishop b4 check. I think he should castle now. Let's see. If he castles, I castle. There's, I think, prospects for bishop a6 and using the b4 square and the b file here. So say white castles, I castle. Yeah, I think it's a comfortable position because of this mechanism. Knight takes. I've got pressure on d pawn on d takes. So I think I'm happy here at the moment. If white castles, I'll just simply castle. I believe that's a good idea. I guess there's an option, but it would open up the rook. And sometimes it's good to force the opponent's pawns to capture away from the centre. It like weakens that diagonal. Okay, but he's going to be winning a pawn. I'm going to be protecting that now. So knight b4 holds that knight in place. I think it's still a comfortable position. I think rook e1, there could be some dangers if I took here, because then that bishop's quite dangerous. Maybe I could consider taking off this bishop actually on rook e1 rather than this. I'm a bit wary in blitz, especially of giving the opponent too much dynamic piece pressure and play. I'd rather keep things less controversial. So if I took here, there's a bit of controversy with this bishop if I don't take it off. Okay, this seems pleasant enough. Queen d5. It seems like a very pleasant position with queen d5. I have a feeling it just looks pleasant. I mean, it looks as though... What does it look as though to me? That's interesting. I have this instinct to put the queen on d5. I think in this particular scenario, I think I'm trying to explain it now. Usually the queen's a terrible blockader. Nimzovich ranks the queen as the worst blockader. Okay, it's sort of blockading and it's sort of ready to pounce on here and for e3. But I think the key thing is it's not that easy to kick the queen from d5. That's why I'm more tempted with that sort of move here. Bishop h6 might be on the card, so against bishop h6, king here. So I can just take that bishop. I guess if I can move this pawn forward, I'll be on g2, but g2's protected at the moment, the knight on e1. So that's a long distance idea with this battery. For the moment, in the short term, yeah, what is the short term plan? f5? Oh, okay, the short term plan is not to be mated. Okay. Let's try and not be mated. Oh, hang on, there's bishop h6. This is getting scary. Rook g7, knight f6, bishop f6, ef. This is starting to get a bit scary. Okay. If I play queen f5, if he plays queen h4, queen takes. No, there's queen h4. Alright, I can be drastic here with queen h5, which looks fundamentally horrible. But I'm just thinking queen f5, queen h4. Then you might have bishop h6, bishop g7. So I think get the queens off here. I'm thinking get the queens off here. This calls for something. Like getting the queens off. Maybe the g file is useful. There's this, if I can lose the exchange or whether for a pawn, that might not be too bad. Okay, that possibility. Now this pawn might be a liability with rook g6 though. Bishop h6, rook g6. Bishop g5 is h6. I can nick this pawn, but there's bishop f4 if he wants bishop e5, if as punishment, if I take that. So I can move the king out of the way to force bishop e5. It's a safety measure anyway in general prophylaxis against if the opponent's got a dark square bishop, put your king on light square. If you've got a particular colour bishop, you're often, and the opponent has, and you put the king on that colour. So it seems fundamentally safer because it's on the light square there. Rook g4, g3. Rook g4 would be nice to prompt g3, I think, to weaken these squares. I think there's an idea of doubling rooks, e3 for rook g2, or that looks like it could be dangerous, or knight d3 to just try and open this bishop for free without even losing a pawn. So that's opening up that bishop. Alright, there's a check here. I'll put the check to my opponent. I'll bring this back. The king can use g6. I'm just thinking, okay, let's play for king g6 if rook. Alright, well I can try and double the rooks on the 7th rank. That's a classic recipe. Just the double rooks on the 7th rank. Again, Nimzovich would be happy about that, I think. On rook a7 there's king g6. I just want to double the rooks to threaten mate. Okay, there's no rook b8. Oh, there's takes some rook e5 here. This is not allowed really. It's not a legal move, so to speak, because of that liability. Alright, there's bishop g2. There's almost like, okay, I think there's just actually rook e1 here. Or bishop b3. Alright, thanks for the game, Fenneman. Okay, so Azure missed. Let's try English opening. And let's see. English opening. This gives me a strategy already. I'm thinking to play for d4. Because I want to push one of these pawns forward. My good friend Kostas Karanis spoke about the pawn duo as being kind of soulmates, that if you can push one of them forward, they lose control of all the squares. Well, it's nice to be able to fix them. If you can encourage one of them to go, then there's, like, for example, a nice f4 square if that was disrupted. There's a nice f4 square here. So that f5 pawn is kind of hemming in this bishop as well, but what's nice here is that f4 as well. I think d5, there's knight e5. I don't think there's a prospect of d5 yet from black. I think I have a very nice position with just the d5 square here. It's very, very comfortable English opening type position because of that d5 square. It seems positionally to me painful for black in a few aspects. b5 because the a pawn's there, f5 blocking the bishop, pawn duo gone, but my clamp on d5 in particular. As a tactical example, let's have a look at this. Knight takes, bishop takes. You can almost imagine knight g6 and a mating on the h file. So that sort of thing could be dangerous. Or even just queen h5 there. In fact, I'll go for that tactic. So knight takes, check. Queen h5 threatens knight g6 mate. So it's very quick how this goes from a positional trump card to a tactical one here. You can see that d5 going to black's king safety quite quickly. Can I prompt knight takes knight takes d5, because that would give me the h5 square. I wonder if I can prompt it. If I can play rook e1, the rook's not doing anything at the moment, I believe. So I want to try and prompt this. That will be bishop takes d5, cutting an escape square, and queen h5 for knight g6. I think, yeah, these positional trump cards are translating well here to king safety. Quite rapidly translating to king safety implications. Knight takes. Problem with knight g6 is hg protects h5. Otherwise, yeah. But here, now I'm threatening queen h5, knight g6. So queen h5, I can let my d pawn go for knight g6 mate. h6. I can win the exchange, knight g6. King h7. I can look at bishop h6, but after gh I don't see anything there. I think I'd just rather win the exchange. Let's see, h6, anything clearer? I could play rook takes for knight g6 here. Right, so knight g6. Alright, yeah, it's there's actually a video on my channel called The Power of the Bishop pair by my friend Costas Karianos did it about the pawn duo. Sometimes it's a bit risky to have this pawn duo. It's a classic recipe against it, to try and get rid of the pawn duo, and then you get a square, then you get a central square, then it can translate to king safety basically. Okay, so I hope you got something from that. Anyway, let's see, knee wombat. Okay, I don't know. So let's see. Okay. So f5 is a very risky move. Okay, this is a more less ambitious, but maybe more solid. If bishop takes, I'm not sure about b takes. Maybe knight takes. Alright, it's encouraging some weaknesses. That's nice. So I've weakened the diagonal now. That's very nice. I'm in a passive state at the moment. Passive. Okay, can I afford knight takes? I don't think anything's dropping off, so. d5 is always knight e5. g4 here might be interesting. I think g4 fits the position for the moment. I've got this bishop pair. The tiger's lying in wait. My tiger's lying in wait, especially the dark square one. So I just want to make sure the opponent's pieces haven't got any squares, basically. I'm trying to shield all the squares. Like d5 gives a square like e5. I want to shield e4. Don't want to be any pins. A4, maybe A5. I don't think B5 is a threat, actually. F4 gives the E4 square. If I contested the E4 square, then F4, F5. I can maybe I can play rook E1. But the problem with rook E1, he could take. I want to be able to take with the other rook. So I think, therefore, Queen D2, rook E1 with the plan F4, F5. So if he took, I can take, and I'm still playing F4, F5. He could trade both rooks. I still think it might be okay. It might be okay. Oh, tactics. Knight C2. I could play. Can I play F4, F4, Knight D3, F5? No, F4 improvement. Knight D3, rook takes, and then F5. Knight C2, rook takes, and then rook C2. I'm not sure about this tactic idea. Either C2 or D3. I'm not sure. This plan of F5 now is surely a concern for black. So Knight D3, rook takes. Just run this through again. Rook takes. F5, knight takes F2, queen takes F2. That bishop's trapped. Okay, that's something. Yeah. Okay, A3, knight D3, rook E3. If queen F4, rook takes, and then queen takes. If rook takes, queen takes, I get that fault, so I'll go with this. So knight D3, rook E3, with the idea of actually, queen takes as rook takes D3, protecting the queen. Hang on, I could be losing another pawn here. Hang on, rook takes, bishop takes to protect that pawn. I'm wrong about queen takes F4 because the knight's holding the queen. I was wrong about that as well. Okay, is there rook G3 before I get exterminated here? It's dangerous to miss moves. It's an uneasy feeling missing moves, which are good moves. I've just missed one, but okay. Maybe rook G3 is okay. This knight is dangerous. Don't know how to get rid of it yet. Knight D5, there'll be knight E2 check. Maybe rook F1 for a moment. Maybe. Oh, then bishop E3. Oh yeah, then bishop E3. Okay, maybe rook F3 here. Or bishop H3. Oh, or rook F3. Or rook G5. There's rook G5. Maybe that's more to the point. Rook G5. Queen F6. Knight D5. Queen E6. Probably knight D5 again. Queen. Actually, D5 here strikes me as handy. D5. Just asking the queen to go a bit Away. Go away. A bit. It gives me the d4 square. So bishop d4 here now. Okay. If I play rook g4. And bishop h3 now. I think bishop f5, rook f5, and rook g7. To win the queen. So bishop f5, rook takes, queen takes. Knight, rook takes g7. Knight g7, bishop f5, knight f5. I think it's okay. Okay, thanks for the game. Thanks for the game. Right. Jono. Right, so I tried Dutch defense. Stone wall. I feel a bit scared playing the stone wall. But Magnus Carlsen's played it honest with some success. Why do I feel scared playing the stone wall? I don't usually play the Dutch defense. It's a thing which isn't used at the high levels because I think because of its percentage of weaknesses compared to say more solid structures that emerge usually from the Slav or the Grunfeld. The Dutch defense has got a higher percentage of weaknesses. And also a bad bishop potentially if you play the Dutch stone wall. So you might ask, why am I playing it? Because sometimes it's fun to play these things. Maybe it's some sort of form of gambling or something. I don't know. Okay. Okay, so G5 strikes me as like a super aggressive type move. Clear crude intention. Queen h5, knight g4, provoke a weakness or something. Alright, what about queen g6 here? There's no e5 just yet. Okay, he could win a pawn. But I think I'm not too worried about that. I play e5 here for f4. It's double pawns. There's knight b5 though. That could be a concern. Could this get nasty? It's possible. This bishop could be good on diagonal. I'm hoping f4 will be handy. The knight's holding e5 for the moment. c5's not that quick for white to exploit. The diagonal's not that quick for white to exploit. If I'm playing f4, I give up that e4 square. If the knight was on d6, that would help for f4. Maybe I encourage knight takes d6 with a6. Just to resolve that. Okay, f4 is on the cards now for f3. So bishop e4, I can snap that bishop off. I think f4's on the cards. Okay, maybe after this. No, f4's on the cards. I need to connect my rooks. That's the thing that I think is hurting my position here a bit. Or maybe e takes is the lesser evil. I think that might be this b6 and bishop a6, for example, to connect the rooks. If I can connect the rooks, I mean that's good news if I can connect the rooks. So bishop a6, and then rook a e8, for example, putting pressure on e2. For example, g4, bishop moves, disaster on e2. Let's protect this in the meantime. So bishop a6 is the plan with rook a e8 and g4. This is the plan, I think, which fits. Bishop a6, rook a e8, g4. It fits, I think, because of this important tempo gainer. Oh, there's knight f4 all the time. No, it doesn't. Knight f4 hits the queen. Maybe something better than that is possible. Oh, there's rook c6 or rook c7. Both are pretty nasty. Oh, crikey. I could be in for a rough ride here. Okay, against rook c6 there's bishop b5. Maybe that's not so terrible. Against rook c7, maybe knight f6 to e4. Alright, if that's the case, if that really is the case, let's welcome rook c6 with bishop b5. Let's welcome rook c7 with knight f6. Okay, so knight c3, right. This gives me the possibility of f4, g4. There's b5, or there's knight c4 to e3. There's a few possibilities. Bishop c4 seems useful just to block that c file. Knight e4, b5, knight c5, knight b6. Clamping down that c file. That looks tempting, actually, to do this. To just try and wreck this c file usage before doing anything else. So b5. Might be an overkill to do this positioning. That's going to borrow from king safety, taking away that these light squares a bit weaker. It's borrowing from king safety. Okay, a6 here. He could undermine with a4. However, king safety, f4. Now, there's a check here if he ever took. Rook e3 looks dangerous, potentially. Queen d3, oh, there's a check here now. Queen d3 looks dangerous. Especially here, queen d3 looks very dangerous. Alright, so there's a knight d2 check or knight takes b2. There's a check here. Well, there's rook f3 winning the queen. I think rook f3 winning the queen. Alright, thanks for the game, Jono. Okay, Kasparov students. Maybe I should have tried the Dutch defense again. I'll try and keep some variety. Maybe I'll play this Benko Gambit now. Okay. Alright, so g6, bishop f6, huh? What if I took on b5 here now? Right. Okay, the bishop can use this diagonal. I don't know if that's, or can still use this diagonal. Let's just get the queen in for free there for a moment. Just put the bishop here. I think f5 immediately. For bishop takes c3. Knight e2, bishop a6. Maybe for bishop e2. Try to undermine c3 immediately. Bishop a6. Okay, that can help my development here. If he took knight e2. Well, there's bishop c3 here. That looks pretty dangerous to me because there's no queen d2 because of queen a1. There's f takes and bishop b5 check here, which looks killing, absolutely killing. Hang on, I guess there's knight e2. Maybe jumping the gun. There's knight e2. I missed that. Okay. There is the possibility of bishop e2 without queen e2. So he has to play king e2, but I think he might be fine. So let's try and work this out again. Queen b2, rook b1, bishop e2, queen e2, queen e2, king e2, rook a2. Queen b2 is really worth it. If we look at rook b1 again, let's check this again. Bishop takes e2, queen takes e2, queen takes e2, because the rook's being held by the bishop. King takes, rook takes. I could castle after that to protect b8. What about just a sensible move? Like, what about rook a4 here? Rook c1, queen b2, rook b1. Rook a4, bishop f3. Rook d4. Rook a4 might be a useful forcing move, fitting the position quite well, rather than trying to do anything else. Okay, rook b1, rook e4, rook b5, then castle. Okay, I'm going to go with rook a4, I think. Okay. Rook b1. Am I leaving my pieces on praise here? After rook b1. I'm just slightly concerned. Alright. Setting a trap because this will be check. Maybe it's time to castle. Oh, my queen's attacked as well. Okay. Queen c4 protects the rook, hits the bishop, hits the knight. Bishop f3. Don't think I can do much better than queen c4 though. Can I? Queen e5 holds the attack on the rook. Bishop f3. Bishop e2, bishop e2. Okay, queen e5 looks actually better though. To force bishop f3. It looks better, it looks more central. It keeps an eye on the rook on a1. Bishop f3. If I just castled there, after bishop f3, alright, so he's undermining my rook on a4 still. Okay, is there a move c4 here? c4. Let's play c4. Because if I took those, queen takes a4 check. The complications arise because my king's in the center is like, yeah. Alright, let's get this rook off the firing line. Down to a minute. I need to speed up as well now. Okay. Yeah, I should have castled earlier. I think I'm paying the price now of that, losing that bishop. Take some rook a1. I'm losing the bishop. It's gone downhill. Too much. Instead of playing normally, castling is always a good idea. Generally a good idea. You can get the other rook in. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna lose on time as well as everything else. So try this queen h4 maybe. I'm gonna start pre-moving now. Queen h4. Can I whip up some attack? I'm gonna start pre-moving. 31 seconds. Okay, this could help. That pin and win. Sometimes the natural need for simplification causes a tactical disaster. Spillman noted that in one of his articles. Sometimes people want to simplify, but they make a mistake along the way. So I want to play c2 here. So 97, c2. It's still very dangerous. Okay, I'll stop h5 for a moment. Pre-move time? How can I get the pre-moves up without losing all my pawns? Interesting. Okay, very interesting. Too interesting. Too controversial. I was playing. Shouldn't play with a king not castled. End up losing a piece. That's okay. Yeah. It was just okay. The thing to watch out, if you're too keen to simplify, you've got to watch out for that, being too keen to simplify when you're a piece up. Okay, I was lucky. So a consonant. I'll try and clamp down on B4 here. So we have a reverse bottleneck system. Yeah, that's intriguing. Okay, I thought I was clamping down on that, wasn't I? No. Okay, I'm going to take it until knight E1, and then knight takes B4. F5. This bishop could be good on that diagonal. I keep a knight there. Okay, I'll take one of these knights now. Which one? Maybe the more central one. Maybe knight D4 might be okay. And I suppose I'll take with. Actually, maybe I should take with the E pawn. If I take with this pawn, there's knight B4 to D5, giving the B4 square. So I'll take with the E pawn. There's some perks here with the E file, as well as stopping knight B4. The F4 looks okay. If bishop B4, bishop F5. If he took, he's fragmenting the pawns, which would mean H2 is probably easier to get an attack on. This queen G5, FG, queen takes check. So I'll go with this tactic. I dare to hit the queen for takes check, win the rook with check, then take the queen back. So FG threatened, F takes G3 threatened, hitting the queen. I mean, it's a good queen sack here though. The pawn takes, so move the queen somewhere. Maybe queen F6. Well, I tried to think F takes, queen F2. Maybe I was. Bishop check, bishop F5. Okay, there's F3 here. This blunts that bishop. Puts it on H1. I mean, that's good news for me. This bishop on H1. I don't need checkmate here. I can just play as if I'm a bishop up almost. In fact, this diagonal looks good for H5 now, for bishop H6. He's teasing me with this knight sack. I think I'll take that anyway. I want to play queen e5, I think. This looks as though I should play it to get the back row sorted. Okay, his bishop e3 looks good because of that pin. Queen f5, g takes, queen h3 looks an idea. No, queen f5 he just takes. Let's try and avoid losing my queen to a pawn. There's no hiding the junk thoughts in live commentary, is there? Especially when I'm doing live commentary. Okay. So there you have it. I even considered queen f5. Yes, there you have it. Okay, I'm just human. Okay. So queen g6. What about queen g6? Or g takes here. I can just simplify it down. G takes. I think there's bishop h3 to win. No, there isn't. King takes, bishop takes. Okay, I can just simplify down with just taking on f3 here. I don't have to play a trick which just backfires with king takes. Just take this off, and bishop g4. And bishop g4, and then bishop e2. It's simple and strong, I think. Bishop e2. Right, thanks for the game. That's Ronald. Cobra. Playing English opening today. In the mood for that. What's this over here? I'll just play g3, bishop g2. Now this exchange Slav structure is interesting. Well, it's interesting as a relative word. I mean interesting in that there's squares that are pronounced, aren't there, in this exchange structure. You can see that the dark squares are pronounced a bit, to me at least. So as outpost squares, c5 and e5 are a little bit emphasized as outpost squares when you play the exchange Slav. There are a few games actually. I think Botvinnik, it was one of Botvinnik's favourites against the Slav defence, the exchange variation, and he would often minimise the opponent's counterplay. I think by playing on dark squares grip, dark square grip, I think was one feature of that. Some of those games. Dark square grip. So I'll try and emulate a bit of that here. The c8 bishop is a little bit of a problem bishop. a5 is quite nice. Knight e5, knight c6. If you ever took, I can get my queen over here and use the g file, I think. I'm going to translate this into a kingside attack. So if he took queen h5, king h1, rook g1, that'd be the plan. b4, knight e2, the knight can help, knight f4. So the plan is queen h5, king h1, rook g1, g6, queen h6, try and swing a rook in, g3 to h3, that sort of thing. So b4, knight e2, the danger, this, nope, that's ruled out, the rook's holding a6 on this diagonal. So let's have a look at this again. So queen h5 to start off with, king h1, rook g1, the possible idea of doubling the rooks also. Okay, dark square to light, king h1, rook g1, double the rooks, knight e2 to f4 to h5. Okay, that sort of thing. Immediately tactic, knight d5, ed, bishop d5, king h8. It's not doing anything at the moment. I suppose it's not doing anything at the moment. I think I like my clamp on the dark squares. I don't want to dissolve that clamp. I don't believe f4 is doing anything, so let's just do king h1 for bishop f3, rook g1. Bishop f3 might be more useful than bishop h3 because it can go there or can go back here to e2. So bishop f3, rook g1, bishop e2. That uses that square for the knight though. Maybe best the move order here, knight e2, knight f4, bishop f3, rook g1. Yeah, the move order. Get the knight to f4 first, then it's g5. g5 there's knight h5. So okay, he's prompting that move order anyway. There's no bishop a6 as previously noted, so knight f4, bishop f3, rook g1. Maybe b3 is useful here to stop knight c4. Also that pawn, okay. Put the brakes on the queen side attack. There might be some mileage there to do that. Hitting e6 with tempo. So there's also knight g6 to factor in. Or rook a7, rook a8. Knight d5 is backfiring because of the check. Actually, my king's on h1. Don't need to. I just need to double the rooks here, I think. So bishop f3. If rook a8, rook b1. With the idea rook g1, rook g3, rook g1. The other one's g1, rook a g1. Okay, rook c3. I think it's too slow. There's knight g6 immediately already. hg, queen g6, queen g7, queen e6. This is already dangerous, rook g1. It's already knight g6 is dangerous. How dangerous is it now? It looks like exceptionally. Should I put my money where the mouth is? I'll do it. Because I think this diagonal is also ripe. Queen g6. There's always like rook g1, queen h6, queen h7, queen f6. I just don't think that's gonna. Okay, there's knight e7 check here. Queen e7, rook g1 check would be winning the queen. King f7, rook g7. Otherwise, I'm just winning the exchange if I just take on c8 and there's rook a7 after that. So I think knight e7 check is really strong here. Let's just check that again. So queen takes, rook g1 check. King f7, rook g7. If hang on, there's king h8 there. So let's check it out again. Knight e7, queen e7, rook g1, king h8. What about if I just take in the knight f4? It seems a lot saner. Put pressure on e6. Okay, there's bishop h5 and rook g1 to look forward to. Now if rook g8, there's rook a7 to look forward to on the other side of the board. So rook takes g8, rook takes g8, rook a7, rook b8. Right, that's a nice pin to have on the other side of the board. Rook b8. Okay, bishop e2 for bishop e6. It's not quite there yet. Bishop a6 threatens. Okay, rook b4 threatens. Bishop c6. Okay, yeah, parried. Okay, knight c5 plan. Positional torture on the queen side now. Okay, let's just lock down on dark squares. Knight c6 happening. Bring the king in. Bishop b5 for knight d7. Okay, this ending. Does he really want this ending? Okay, I've had bishop b5 to encourage this ending even better, winning another pawn potentially with bishop c6 and knight b4. How many pawns are on light squares here? Not many. For his bishop. So bishop c6, knight b4. Right, get my king over there. Maybe, okay, the one I'm going to lose is b3. Probably. Alright, not, okay, I don't want to get into a self-checkmate. Put a knight on a tortuous dark square. Bring this pawn up onto a dark square. Okay, I went on e6 as well. Okay, get my king somewhere. Where does the king want to go? Over here. Oh, I should have played h4. Okay, that was dumb. Should have played h4. Right, b5 is happening. The king can't enter, well, you can enter via f3 actually. It's too late. It's too little too late. Okay. Thanks for the game, Cobra. Yeah. Okay. Schrummel. Botvinnik system, repeat of the Botvinnik system. So you accept a small downside of the weakened central square, but you get this kind of bind on major breaks, b4, d4. That's what you play with a5. So b4, d4, trying to constrain b4 and d4 breaks. But the small downside is d5 here in the reverse Botvinnik. Okay, it's quick on b4, huh? Take my file. I'll go with knight d4. Maybe e4 here hits the knight. And dice his pawns a bit. We can f3 at least. ed, knight d4. So he weakens f3 a bit. Maybe it's not such a big deal. Okay. Or if I take, I want f4 and bishop f5 potentially. f4 bishop f5 has got bishop e4. Rook e8, there's e3. Okay, let's do this anyway. Seems liberating. Okay, it's just a pawn. Oh, it's giving me h4 as well. Okay. Alright, so knight e2 check could be useful, bishop e2. So queen h4, pouncing there. Rook a2 looks handy. Dark squares. He's got a monster knight on d5 though. Oh, that's scary. Bishop f7, it seems really awkward. Am I getting stuffed? It's possible. If I play queen f6 for the moment, knight d5, bishop d5. Okay, queen f6, I hope. I'll chase away this knight. Or not. Against g7, immediate g7 threat. Can I play king g7? Okay. So queen f6 or taking. If I take rook e8, there is a blockade for a moment. Maybe king f6, slightly better blockade. I've got the file, center file, so I didn't have the center file. Okay, I'll go with b file then. He hasn't got rook g1 just yet. So rook b2, bishop e5 plan. I can take on h2 here. It's a pawn in the future. Maybe it's a pawn start pushing like now. I don't know where he's going with his king necessarily. Oh, crikey. Okay. Blockade. He's going to take my h3 pawn. Oh, man. Well, I think it's drawish, isn't it? Alright, well played. Very well played. Good one. Yeah. Yeah. Played it well. Okay, Cicero. Let's try maybe a King's Indian. I think. Do I want to play King? Maybe I do. Okay, so this looks like a reasonable position at the moment. G5, knight G6. Still plough on, I think. Knight G6. Knight H4, H5, that sort of plan. Still plough on. King G6, Rook H8. The knight sack might be interesting. There's also another little idea here. I've done it C6 and check. The king's having to guard G2 right now. Alright, the queen's gone in G2. Okay. Can I do that without getting mated? Right, F4 takes. I just want to get the rook to the H file. Right now, something like knight G4 looks thematic. Because otherwise, I was going to say I'm not going to do anything, yeah, but he stopped knight G4. Okay, now I'm worried. He stopped knight G4. I'm slightly concerned now. Okay. Build up still for knight G4. On this side with C6, as I'm going to play on the queen side. Something awkward about this, isn't there, with the king there? I'm hoping there is. So C6, CD. I'm opening up my king potentially after ED. Let's put the king back for a moment on F7 away from the glare of the queen. So C6, if that really is a plan here, to play C6, because he's well and truly sealed up against any knight G4 piece sack. But C6 in our hand. CD. Let's go away from the queen. Let's go away from this queen. Okay. C6 here. His king's kind of in the center, you could argue. So maybe. King is physically in the center of the board. Okay, rook c2, bishop e5, bishop c6, there's queen e6, and queen e6, there's rook h6, and there's queen e7 after that. Would that matter, that queen e7? I don't think it matters. In fact, I want to play rook 8. That's a good move, rook h6, to try and get this d pawn. Queen d3, rook h6, rook d1. Alright, let's play this. Okay, I can double as well. That's nice. Okay, bishop e8 to f7. And this is anything stronger. Oh, there's a check here. Hold on. Bishop a3. No. The check might be useful here without bishop c3. Okay, he's winning an exchange. The check. And there's queen d2 checkmate. There's bishop b4 though. That's a snag. Does he play bishop b4 immediately if I do that? Queen b6. Alright, probably best to start moving quickly in this position. Bishop f7. He wins. Alright, so here I was losing the whole rook. Oh, Muppets. Alright, queen d2 could be a plan for queen. Oh, he's got rook d1 as well. There's rook d4. Hang on, why didn't I think of rook d4 earlier? It's queen b2. Oh, what's that? Can get this pawn. It's too late. Knight e5. Uh-oh. This doesn't look good. Is he going to give me at least this pawn? Okay. Yeah, messed up. I think I had a reasonable position earlier. When I truly messed that up. Well played. That's a good one. Okay. Yeah, tough. Let's have a quick look. Maybe see if I had anything there. Oh, bishop f6 is given as equal. So I guess bishop e7 there is good. So giving up the exchange. Apparently this is okay. Maybe there's enough compensation. Well, there's probably enough compensation here. It seems as though black's doing fine. I think losing the rook is not a good idea. For nothing. So there's only one move which seems to avoid losing the rook. I have to unpin this guy. I have to unpin. There's no other way of unpinning it. I wouldn't say this is good either necessarily. Just builds up on it. So the only move to stay in the game is probably bishop f6. Okay, that's something to make note of. And earlier, maybe it was a bit dodgy, this c6. Bishop, just getting bishop, yeah, just keep quiet about not opening the position. Well, even here, c6. Oh, why is king? I wonder why king d2 is mentioned. No, rook d1. Oh, I can prepare c6. Maybe under better conditions, c6, or just carry on playing normally without c6. It's quite committal, c6, the way I played it. Probably no need to rush it. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this week's session. Yeah, one fun, 10 boring. And see you next week. Have a good weekend. Rest of the weekend. Have a good week. Okay, thanks very much. Cheers then.